welcome back to the Planted Courtyard. My name is Ian Cooke, and in this episode we're going to look at one of my unmitigated disasters. This year, this little corner was going to feature a huge crinodendron lily. I didn't expect it to flower this year, but I did expect it to establish, ready for future years for it to perform, but it didn't. I also had in here Impatiens tinctoria, which I had high hopes for. Point is, it turned out to be way too dry, and that's because if we pan like that, you can see that roof line that's not only protecting it, but is also capturing water that would come in from that side and making this a very, very dry patch. Now, don't give up on failures. They're a great learning opportunity, and you should learn to embrace them. Get it wrong, find out why, and then you won't do it again next time. So, I'm going to, two tips. One is face up to your mistakes and fix it. Find out why things die. The second is we're going to go and have a look at the plant I'm going to put in its place. I've been given access to a very large hardy banana. It's called Musa basjoo. Great for kids, fast growing, big leaves, great talking point. But apparently it's hardy to zone 5. I don't know that I agree with that. Maybe 6.5. It's the January wet, soggy collar around the plant that will kill them. They will absolutely do them in. So we're going to go and find this plant at my friend's house, dig it up, bring it back, and we're going to plant it here. So, anytime I get offered a new plant, the temptation is to rush out and go and get it, and then plant it at some point. What I like to do is dig out the area for my plant first. Here you can see me finding the center of this particular triangle, and then I'm going to dig out my hole. Now the thinking behind this is that if I've already got my hole dug out, when I get my plant, I am much more likely to put it in the hole, backfill it, and water it, rather than dig it up, bring it home, leave it in the car for 2 days, take it out, put it in the garage for 3 days, maybe bring it into the kitchen for some water, then put it back outside, and then maybe plant it. So get in the habit of preparing your planting area before you go and get your new free acquisition. Now, somebody prior to me had used packing peanuts. Don't quite know if that was a plan or if it just happened, but that might be why this site was so dry. And it also faces south, so obviously it's got some heat there. So now we're starting to understand why my plants failed. Now when you dig your hole, put the soil on all sides. Don't put it in one spot. Spread it out on all sides, and you'll see why that's important later on. Now, I don't know the size of the root ball that I'm going to be able to get with my new hardy banana. This hole here is about 20 inches across, maybe a little bit more, and it's probably about 1 foot deep, maybe not quite 1 foot deep. It's 95% of what I want. Now, the hardy banana is a great plant for children. Fast growing, luxuriant, big thick leaves, great talking point. This particular plant's been here for over 10 years, and it's put out some new side growth, which are called pups or offsets. Now, when you go and dig up a plant like the hardy banana, you don't want a huge plant, you don't want a tiny plant. What you want is a plant with a shoot, which has got some space from it and other parts of the plant. These here are a good size, but they're all too close. What I want is something at least 1 foot further away, and what that does is give me the chance to dig evenly away from my chosen plant, and I can be sure that I'm going to get a good amount of roots on all sides of the plant, rather than it just being lopsided. Now, if we look in this side, there's going to be the perfect example of what we're looking for. You can see how this has got a little bit of a gap between it and the mother plant. And on that area, that's where there'll be an underground root growing, which I'll have to sever. Now, I set the camera up for this. I did not go in there and do any pre-digging in any way. This is just going in with a plan, and having chosen a good subject, I'm able to make 5 or 6 cuts. Now you can see me here, I'm digging straight down, and then there's a little wriggle on the handle at the end. That's to sense the tension of where roots are, and the more you do it, the more in tune you'll get with this technique. So you dig down vertically and cut the roots, sever the roots, and that little pullback is where you can sense where the new roots are that you need yet to cut. Now, you don't want to shake the root ball, you don't want to crack it. So it's a fine blend between cutting and severing and getting the right size, not too big, not too small. But with a bit of experience, you can do this. And here we go. We pull out our root ball. Great shape, roots on all sides. Make sure that you take a pot with you and get it in a pot as soon as you can. Now, the idea here is that you don't want to shake that root ball any more than necessary. If you can do, take a towel, wrap a towel around it, and that will further prevent it from collapsing on you. Now, if we pick this up carefully, I just want to show you the root mass. There's a lot of roots in there, and they're going to have the energy that will help the plant establish in its new planting area. The first thing you want to do is pay attention to the correct planting depth. If you dig out a big hole that's deep, plant it and backfill it, you will smother the plant, particularly a perennial like this. My hole is about 3 to 4 inches too deep, and this is why I put soil around the edge, because I can look at that level, determine exactly where it should be, lift it up with one hand, and with the other hand and my spade I can put some more backfill into the middle of the hole and then set that at the correct level. Now, my chosen method for replanting is really easy. Rather than backfilling what I took out, what I do is I shave the sides of my planting pit, and that loosens up the edges and it gently works in soil into all the little nooks and crannies of my new root ball. And I'll go around in layers, just gradually backfilling, and then it's important that you're able to get water into your new planting, and that will help wash all of the new soil into the root ball, completely rehydrate not only the root ball but also the new soil that you put in there. And if your root ball is 18 inches across and your hole is 25 or 26 inches across of loose soil, because I was shaving it, that means that you can now get a lot more water into this entire planting area. The whole root ball can be rehydrated and you'll be off to the races. So this 2/3 to 3/4 of a backfill is my way to create a depression. I can flood it full of water, and then I can come back and just finish off that last bit of backfill, making sure that I've got the level right. Now, the hardy banana, great plant for kids. Once we start to get frosts, this top part will brown off. It's really important that you let your plants go dormant before winter comes. Here we are the next day, the plant didn't fall over, looking very happy. This will get frosted, and then I will put some leaves over it, make some sort of protection, nothing too severe. Thank you for watching The Planted Courtyard. Please like and subscribe, and we'll be back.